All right, today we're going to learn how to create a product ad using Affinity Photo. This will be pretty simple. We're just trying to bring in some elements and create some fake 3D depth. So this is what we're going to be creating here. The only thing that I took off the internet, I found some images of these Apple Ultra watches, and I just took them and turned them into PNGs so that I could just place them into an image without having to do all the cutting out for you, but that's pretty basic stuff. So let's go ahead and build this ad. We'll go to File and New, and we'll start off with a 1920 by 1080 blank document. And let's zoom out just a little bit. All right, so what we would like to do here is start off with the background. So let's get the Flood Fill tool. And from the colors, let's go ahead and, I created a little quick palette here, but it's like a pale peachy yellow. And we'll put that in there in the background. All right. And then what we need to do is make our lower third. So we'll go ahead and pick a rectangle shape tool. And let's come in here and just drag out our shape. And we'll get the gradient tool. And it's going to be a linear gradient. And for, let's see, let's put the darker color in the back and lighter color down low. And for the lighter color, let's pick this yellow. All right. So now that we have that done, we can real quickly here before we move any further, let's just take this and apply a Gaussian blur to it so we don't have such a sharp edge there. That looks pretty good. And we'll drop that right on that. Let's go ahead and duplicate that layer. And then we'll take this layer and we will move it up here. Let me zoom out a little bit here. And we'll kind of size that down so it's easier to see in the picture there. And we'll extend this out and then kind of move it up to there. Okay, and real quickly, let's compare what we've got here to what we've got going on here. Yeah, it's pretty similar. All right. Next thing we're going to do is create these shadows that this would create if there was a light coming down from the upper right-hand part of the screen. So let's come and grab an elliptical tool, or an ellipse tool, sorry, shape. And let's just drag out an ellipse. And we're going to fill this with a color. Let's just go with dark gray. And we're going to rotate that. It's important that it sits behind this diagonal up here. And so with that one, we are also going to add a Gaussian blur to it. And I think we need to lower the opacity a little bit on that as well. So it shouldn't be so harsh. And then we'll move it up this way a little bit. And then what we'll do there, let's go ahead and duplicate that layer. And we'll size it down some, rotate it down here. Now this one we want to sit slightly in front of this lower there. And we'll kind of size that the way that we want it, pretty much where we want it to be. And we kind of want it to meet this other shadow here. Okay, that's pretty good. So now what we're going to need to do is rasterize this. And we're going to need to get rid of this portion up in here. So let's do this. Let's command click the bottom rectangle to give us a selection there. And then let's go ahead and invert that pixel selection. Come up to our layer here. Let's grab our eraser tool, size it up some, and real quickly we'll just erase that. Okay. And Command D to deselect. So now we've got our background created. Let's bring in our other elements. So we'll bring in the watches next. So we're going to go File, Place, and we will come to our black watch. And we're going to place it right about there. And we may mess with the sizes in just a little while here. And then let's go ahead and place our second watch. And we'll place that right about there. And we kind of want to get their sizes similar. We could spend a little bit of time creating some guides to do that, but for purposes here, this is fine. All right, so we've got that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to need to create some drop shadows for these. And you can do this a bunch of different ways. You can use either an ellipse, or you can use a rounded rectangle. Let's go ahead and use a rounded rectangle, and then we may do a little bit of. All right, so we've got our rounded rectangle there, and let's apply Gaussian blur to that. And let's drop the opacity. Oh, we have to actually pick the layer and drop the opacity to that. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and rasterize and trim that as well. And now what we need to do is give it a little bit of perspective here so that we can kind of make it look like it's underneath the watch. And probably want to mess with this for a while to get it right. But again, for our purposes, we're just going to... that doesn't look too bad. We'll move it in place here. And then we'll just go ahead and option drag this over. So we have one for the yellow watch as well. And these are kind of dark still. So let's go ahead and drop the opacity down a little more on both of those. Okay, so now if we're looking at this, if we are kind of really paying attention to the light's coming down from this way. So certain parts of these watch elements would be in a little bit of shadow. So what we can do here is let's select the yellow watch, And I'm going to grab the burn brush. And let's see, what do we have? We have the hardness down to 2 on this, and let's drop the flow down some. And so what we'll do is come over here to the bottom bezel of the watch. And let's just start darkening that up just a little bit, because this would be in shadow. This inside portion of the band would be in shadow. Let's bring the opacity down. You know what? Let's back out of that a little bit. Drop the opacity down on that as well, because that's a little aggressive. Okay. Again, down here at the bottom. And then we'll do the same thing for the black watch. We're just going to do a little burning down here, a little burning on the inside of the band. Yeah, there we go. All right, so all that's left to do now is to add in our text. So we'll go to Artistic Text tool, and for the top one, let's go with something delicate. Let's type in Ultra, and for the text on that one, I believe I used Gold Bill, which is a pretty Gold Bill, Gold Bill, Gold Bill. It's down here somewhere. Gold Bill, here we go. Gold Bill. And while we're there, let's go ahead and spread out the lettering a little bit. To do this, you hold down the Option key on a Mac and use the right arrow key. We'll get that spread out the way we want. Take a look at it. And not crazy about the complete black on that, so let's kind of let's bring it down to gray. Like that. All right, and then we are going to add in our Apple Watch text down here. And let's just type in Apple Watch. And let's change the font there. I think I went with Impact on that one. And we'll make that white. So that gives it some more contrast. And maybe we'll go ahead and size that down just a little bit. So kind of So anyway, very quick, down and dirty product ad. Most of it is just shapes, shadows, a little bit of shading, and then finding your elements or your products and putting those in there. Color scheme, depending on your products will dictate your color scheme. If we were working with different colors here, we would probably go with different backgrounds. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. If you like this, drop me a like, subscribe if you want to get more tutorials like this. And that's it. Until next time, peace. Talk to you later. Bye.